Funding for the following program was provided by the Lillian Lincoln Foundation.
Boys are on fire. They are burning. You see them almost turned inside out, as if somehow some thinning of the skin occurs, and they become the tortured elements of the culture they grow up in. They're the symptom, or they're the bearers of the symptom.
Lately, we've seen a spate of school shootings. People say they can't possibly understand. What scares people is they look like some of them the boy next door. And they look like the boy next door because they are.
The number one question is about how do I get my son to talk to me?
You tell me when you're hungry, and I can feed you. The most important thing you'll ever be able to do is communicate your emotions.
But if there are no men around in my household to do that, then that makes things a little bit tougher. And I've got to find external examples of manhood. And if those external examples of manhood happen to be the drug dealer on the corner, then I'm going to have a tougher time becoming a man.
It's hard work. And they have to be able to call on something inside themselves. And if they don't know what's inside, if they haven't felt it, if it's not clear to them, they don't want to go there. I don't blame them. It's scary.
How do boys become men? How do they learn courage, the difference between right and wrong, and the meaning of love? What hurts them, makes them violent, and sometimes kills them? How do we see them? How do we talk with them? How can we help them? This is a program about growing up male in America, from the playground to the playing field, from the family circle to the community stage. Boys will be men.
They raise them there in Metropolis. They're downright rotten in Gotham. And starting Monday afternoon.
What is the model of manhood that boys learn at an early age? We asked some students in an unlearning violence program for ex-offenders.
In high school, I pumped iron, I played football, basketball. Also, I had to be very tough, physically tough, by punching them out, wrestling, getting into fights to prove that I was stronger than my classmates.
You know, I have like this mechanism where I'll take it to a higher level than you will. So when I was a kid, I would get in fights, and, you know, if I lose a fight, I'll just go get a stick, you know, because I will take it up another notch somehow.
The boyhood message to be tough, to be dominant, takes a toll. It cuts down men's capacity to experience intimacy and a full range of emotions.
Boys don't cry, right? I was told that boys don't cry. And you know, a lot of times for me, I didn't even want to feel those feelings. I didn't want to feel afraid. I didn't want to feel scared of anything. And the best thing for me to do was just to stuff those emotions and not to feel them.
I didn't notice that about myself until I spent 2 years in Vietnam. I was a medic there. And I never cried. I was a medic with people dying on me with a hand shot off or a hole in their gut, and I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't have any emotion, and I got all these medals and these awards and these certificates. It says I was a damn good Army medic because I was cool under fire. And I didn't realize how cold I was until I got home and I saw this Life magazine photo journal, and it showed a medic who was crying because the guy he was trying to save had died. 20 years later, I had to deal with the emotional side because I couldn't continue my life just being cold, just not reacting, and not caring.
Where does it start? At At what point do we begin to give boys and girls different messages about their emotional responses to the world?
At birth, boy babies are more emotive, some would say more empathic and more expressive than girl babies are. And by the time they enter the second or third grade, teachers and parents say they can't read the emotions on a boy's face. So somewhere around the ages of 3 and 4 to 5 and 6, boys are prematurely pushed into what I call the boy code. And put most simply, that's a code that tells boys that they should stand on their own 2 feet, cut mama's apron strings, and to a large extent, be an independent person way before it's possible to really achieve that.
Come on, Marky.
For me, the story of a boy's emotional development is a story of loss. I believe boys are systematically emotionally miseducated and steered away from having an inner life. Fathers will have very different and much warmer and emotional conversations with girls than they do with sons, where they tend to have something that's clipped and brusque and more utilitarian and doesn't speak to the inner life.
The challenges on the road to manhood multiply when boys begin school. At this age, most are more physically active and expressive than girls. This leads to conflict.
So a lot of boys look around and say, what is this school thing? The game is rigged. It's a place run by women for girls, and the girls are good at it, and we're always in trouble.
Because,
Hello.
Because,
It's too wild.
Because,
You have to have places where boys can burn up their energy and run around and not be constantly getting into trouble and not being constantly shamed for just being boys.
Every boy has to somehow learn to start controlling and managing themselves in a structure that's not natural to them and isn't meshed with the kind of movement they like at that age. So when I do have a child like that, I really try and personalize it with him so that I can whisper in his ear, I know this is hard for you, but this is the rules of the game here. And so I hope to try and respect and honor and let him know that how he's feeling is okay.
lace, ribbons, oh.
At this age, most boys lag behind girls in reading. If parents and teachers don't accept this gap as normal, their reactions can actually threaten a boy's self-esteem and ability to learn.
We're beginning to define boy behavior as pathological and call it attention deficit disorder, and our need to turn our children into high-performance academic machines real early is a mistake.
It's hard work to learn to read. And so you have to create that feeling at the level where they are, which means they may just read for a minute the words that they love, and you have to cheer for them because that's as far as they could get. But then you also have to remember they have to be at grade level by the end of the year, or as close as you can get them, or that gap begins. And the gap is a problem for the rest of their academic career.
Boys' lagging verbal skills, combined with the boy code's warning against showing vulnerable emotions, hinders their ability to identify emotions in themselves and others. Understanding this, teachers like Jamie Carlson make a point of teaching the language of human emotions along with reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Take a look at this one. All you see is this face. What does this face have to say? How's his mouth shaped? Can you guys make your mouths make that sad face? I now know that my job is much larger and much more important than just the delivery of the curriculum, and that to help the children understand themselves and their feelings and their place in relationship to other people is critical. So I almost see it now as the precursor to the academic work that has to get done.
boys get older, media reinforces aggression, even brutality, as a key part of male identity. If a boy expresses weak or vulnerable emotions, he risks becoming a target of what Michael Thompson calls a culture of cruelty.
That culture of cruelty is comprised of boys attacking one another for anything that they think is not masculine. And what a boy is hearing is that he's constantly on notice from other boys to prove that he's masculine, to prove that he's strong, to look strong. What boys then hone in on is each other's masculinity. They attack in each other anything that appears tender, compassionate, caring, by calling each other faggot and gay.
People tease me because they say I'm gay because of my haircut.
Where instead of saying, "Oh man, that sucks," I say, "Oh man, that's gay." It's like, "Oh man, dude, I don't like those sneakers. I think they're gay." It's like, it's a sneaker.
How can a sneaker be gay?
By high school, many accept bullying as a part of survival.
If you can throw balls at another kid and if you can make him feel bad about himself, then he's almost out of the game, so to speak. That's one less person you have to worry about being ahead of you. That's one less person you have to worry about getting a better job than you, getting into the school you want to go to. And we learn it at an early age, and it really doesn't ever stop.
You know, it's a way of actually like social interaction and just gaining respect.
And it inflates my ego. And it feels strange saying this, but I feel good about myself when I do it.
Recent studies in the United States show that 80% of boys say they tease, harass, and sometimes threaten other students.
And once you find that being angry and harassing others works for you and you're reinforced for that and you become popular, then you're more likely to continue to do that behavior.
I was in the gym and one boy who I know doesn't have many friends, and I watch him get just ostracized by the other people. They all started throwing their balls at him. Afterwards, he started crying, and he was trying not to show me that he was crying. And I overheard the boys who had been throwing the balls at them later saying, "Blah, blah, blah was crying after. That's so whack. That's so dumb," you know? And I said to one of the, quote, popular boys after, I said, "Why is it so hard for you to just be nice?"
It's just, it's like a guy thing, I guess. And they see like somebody that doesn't like fit in, and like that's what they, and if they can exploit it, and if they can like kind of manipulate it and play with it for a little and then like kill it and eat it, and then like, you know, that's it.
We've all bullied somebody at some point, whether it's our little brother or somebody at school. It's just a natural action.
Is bullying natural? The psychologists we talk to don't think so.
When adults define it as natural, inevitable, or a good part of what turns boys into men, then there's no break on the process. There's no restraint. I mean, people have to say this is cruelty.
The boy code and the culture of cruelty dominate the experience of growing up male in America. But what is the alternative? How can we challenge boys to accept the responsibilities of adulthood without cruelty or a rigid definition of what it takes to be a man? In the rest of this program, we go to two places where we can actually witness boys change, grow, and discover something of their inner life. The mentors who guide them aren't their parents, and yet they bring to their work the skills and insights of conscious parenting. The SEUS program in Idaho is a wilderness course for youth in trouble. Parents send their kids here because of drugs, depression, and out-of-control behavior. But at the heart of things, the youth we get to know here are just like any boy at the crossroads, for whom growing up seems suddenly overwhelming.
Your bits. Not bad bed.
Tim, time to get up, man. Get your dress.
This is crazy because like I've never been like out camping, first of all, when it's this cold. It's just kind of like scary, the whole like sleeping spot, and plus I had to sleep like way away from everybody. Looks like there'd be like bears out here or something, I don't know, like wolves and coyotes or something, you know. I've never seen what is this, you know.
I kept waking up last night just because it was so cold. Learned how to fold up our blankets, our tarps. Waste of time. Pissed off that I'm down here. It's not really getting me anywhere.
It gets real frustrating for kids because we don't give them a lot of information. We give them the necessities and teach them the basic skills of survival, but they get very frustrated quite quickly, and our instructors are there to help deflect those frustrations and help direct them in a positive way.
This might be the hardest thing you ever do in your life.
If you want to do it, if you want to get through here, if you want to get something out of this, we're going to see you through it. We're going to make sure you get there. But you
Here
have
at
to want it for
SEUS,
yourselves.
all of our instructors live exactly like the students do, and they model what our expectations are of the kids in the field.
The expectations are simple. Namely that boys learn to take care of themselves and others in the desert environment.
Again, right here, you want to get it super tight. It's called an S knot, so it makes like an S. See that?
Yep.
Mine and tire helping me be a better camper, but that's about it. This is not me. This is not, you know, what I do. I'm more of a city person, you know, catch a cab or, you know, do something like that. I don't hike and walk through the woods. All I want to do is just go home. Tired of being around all these people I don't know. Tired of being told what to do by complete strangers. And I just don't think I'm going to be able to make it 3 weeks.
You gonna carry that for me too?
We're gonna have to make this beast every single day.
God, rise and shine. It's time to get up now. Wake up, Todd.
All of us have our own responsibilities now. Like, I have the morning responsibility to get everybody up, everybody ready.
Yeah, pack something. Let's go.
And then there's someone else that gets afternoon when we get to a campsite. Someone else that organizes there. Somebody does evening.
The second week is about what can I do to be a supportive member of a family, which is a real challenge for most of these kids because they've been the outcast in their families. For one of the first times in a long while, they're able to be a supportive member.
We've just been through a lot more now. It's been really hard. You really rely on yourself out here, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't get a fire going, you go hungry and you're cold, you know? We don't start the fires with matches or lighters, which I always thought was the only way, you know? But, like, when you get it, like, yourself without any matches or any help, it's just, like, a pretty big accomplishment, you know? And you feel like you're like, yeah, you know?
2. Wait. Oh.
Yeah.
What's interesting to observe is that the adults' expectations of the boys to achieve certain tasks have become the boys' expectations of themselves and of each other. The same process is occurring in other aspects of life, like facing up to the past.
Did the going to jail concern you, or did you think it would really happen? Or?
You never think it happened until it does.
Yeah.
I mean, and when it did, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, and I get out, I was shocked, but then I went right back, and then I got busted again, and I'm here.
Well, I started getting heavy into drugs when I was in the 5th grade. It was always about the drugs. Even in school, I was blitzed off my mind, sitting in class, and all the other kids, they'd come up to me and, Taylor, can you get me this? Can you get me that? Sure, give me the money first.
We can judge for ourselves.
During the second week, some boys get the news that they won't be going home.
What did you do about that?
Taylor's field supervisor, Dennis, has advised Taylor's parents to send him to a boarding school, a structured environment away from his drug contacts.
Today it was just, bad news all around. I fear that I'm going to be sent to a boarding school for the rest of my high school years, and I'm going to be by myself, and I'm not going to be around the people I love. I'm not going to have any motivation.
When you talk about the people you love, how would they have known that you loved them before you came here?
I don't know.
How did you know that they loved you?
If I had a problem with homework or something, my dad would be the first one at the kitchen counter to help me. And
wow.
We'd stay up all night and he wouldn't complain.
So he'd give you his time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. Yeah. What would you express or let them know or?
Changed. Not the person they remember.
Yeah. Why would they believe you?
I'm their son.
I hope the kids will understand better what love means, and it's not just saying it, but it's actually the considerations and how much we consider the impact of what we do on other people.
I feel like a girl. What's changed is I've realized how badly I've been screwing up and how badly I've been pissing people off who I love.
It's been a long morning. I know some of you are dealing with some hard news right now. So remember that you have the family here for you. Taylor, you especially right now, I think could use the support of this family. Ask for what you need.
Taylor isn't the only one who is having problems. Matt is the victim of repeated teasing and harassment from one of the other boys. Chad is his persistent tormentor.
Yeah.
Honest mistake.
Your mistake.
Yes.
Don't drag me into
My
it.
honest mistake.
Basically, the whole trip, I was picking on this one kid, Matt.
Oh, no, you remember the bag? Oh, yeah.
Dennis takes Chad's bullying seriously. He pulls him out of the family for 24 hours and asks him to reflect on what he is doing.
We have to help the bully to understand that the way they're handling their feelings is unacceptable, but more importantly, is hurtful to another.
When I had all that time to think in IG, instead of getting mad and flipping out and throwing something like I always used to do, and I cried like a little baby. I was just crying. Like, I've never cried that hard in my life, like, seriously. It was weird because I felt bad for, like, me treating him like that. And I was just like, man, it was like an itch I couldn't scratch. I was just like, I don't know.
And you take a kid who's been bullying and you sit with him long enough and talk about it, he'll start to cry. Then you get to the deepest aspect, which is his own pain. And then you can work with that and teach him other ways to handle the pain.
I got out of my shelter and wrote the kid a note. I mean, it feels good though. I feel like good about like feeling bad for people, you know?
The discipline of holding boys accountable for their actions in the family has an extraordinary impact when it's done in a framework of honest care and concern.
With boys, we so often punish them, and we call that discipline. That's not true discipline. The original meaning of discipline is to make somebody your disciple. You actually want to have someone follow in your footsteps and emulate your values. That's, to my way of thinking, real discipline.
At the end of the second week, the family hikes into the Seuss base camp. Here they are told they will face their biggest challenge.
That one right there. That's what I think it is. It's hard.
What?
Wait, so you have to walking across the wire.
Is that what you have to do? You have to
ropes.
You ever done this before?
Never.
Like many things at Seuss, the passage across the swaying beams and high wires is a metaphor for growing up.
At least it won't, like, kill my...
Your boys.
Your homies. Things digging okay. But we have pockets.
Like good parents, Ty, Maud, and Dennis give the boys the skills and encouragement they need. But ultimately, it's up to them.
Come on, guys, quicker.
Not hitting my head on the logs or...
Let's try it again. Okay. Keep your hand there.
There's no room up here.
Slowly.
Good luck, man.
Hey, Taylor.
Ready for this?
Oh, ooh, wow. Oh my God.
I'm shaking, man. Do I have to do this?
It's no mistake that the instructors have paired up Chad with Matt.
What? Say it, man. What's your idea?
I go on to the other one.
Yeah?
They're going to have to work together to graduate from the program.
You know what I mean? Across together?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Is that a good idea?
Let's do it.
I mean, because we gotta lean forward, you know.
Right here, man. I'm feeling all right. Yeah. Maybe not.
Feeling all right, are you?
Yeah.
I mean, it might not look like that far up from the ground, but when you get up there, I was just like, yeah, sure.
2, 3. Here, don't grab me, man.
You gotta get your butt in, man. You gotta get your butt in. Don't look down.
Hey, Todd.
Don't.
Oh my God!
Because you're doing well and you've been really pushing yourself. When people work hard at something and you can tell they're serious about it, people are willing to help you. Forget yourself, just support your partner.
That's
right, support each other.
Working on trusting each other, that was hard, but it made sense, you know.
There you go.
Yeah!
Yeah. Good job.
Well, enough talking, man. Just try something.
But there's a moment of truth there. It's a moment of, wow, am I going to be able to have the courage that it takes to move through this? What we provide is a sense of safety so that they will move through very difficult challenges, so that they can look back and see, my goodness, look what I have done.
After the ropes course, the family moves into its final phase. Now the boys are trained to work together as a search and rescue team. Most of the calls that come in are simulated drills, but the boys know they could be asked for help in a real situation. One morning, they get a call that doesn't sound routine.
Could you and your team head down this way as fast as you can and give us a hand here? Over.
Problem, Dennis. We're on our way. Over. Okay, you guys, let's go. Let's head towards the road, and then we'll meet her out there.
The boys learn that a student in one of the other Seuss wilderness groups has bolted from her family and is in the desert without water.
I sprained my ankle too, this works. Becky, you kill your ankle. Come on, Becky, come on.
You want some water? You thirsty?
Can we take a look at your foot?
Look at her. Look at the outside.
What part of your leg hurts, Becky?
Oh, it's bruised.
I think most of these kids come with no sense of who they really are. Why am I here? And building that sense of purpose and helping them feel that accomplishment that we really are here for a reason, that we're not just put here, to create problems, but that we can put here to be parts of the solution.
Do you think you can hop or you need us to carry?
Well, you can put as much pressure
because there's rocks all
as
along
needed on my shoulders.
So providing them a sense of team, a sense of family, and it's just a small glimpse of what the world really has to offer them. So it's giving them an opportunity to see that they can be part of the bigger picture, that their small little world fits into a larger piece.
Yeah. Man, right there, Matt.
I thought today was just one of the best days I've had out here. Just was very proud of myself and my teammates, we came together. It was awesome. So I'd have to say, without drugs, if I'm really committed to something, I can get it done.
After 3 weeks in the desert, the boys graduate. Some of them go home. Some go on to other long-term programs or schools. Seuss isn't a cure-all for adolescent angst and troubles, but it gives both parents and youth a springboard to continued growth.
They lose that external mirror and they go to an internal mirror. And this internal view of themselves or mirror is much healthier than the glass on the wall. It's a true reflection of who they are, and they like themselves better. And oftentimes I've heard students, when they get cleaned up, they look in the mirror for the first time and they like how they look, because what they're seeing is not just their hair, not just how they're holding their expressions, but they see more inside, and they like the person there.
We fall, we're just going to come right follow this way.
I would tell myself before I came here, whoa, I can't do that, I wouldn't even try. I'd be like, I can't do it, I feel like I can do almost anything God puts in my path, bring it on.
When adults communicate clear expectations and provide youth with the tools to succeed, boys are helped to become men. Another part of growing up is discovering and learning how to express who you are as a distinct individual. Parents often have an idea of who you should grow up to be, while peers have a totally different concept of how you should look, talk, and act. Meanwhile, the boy code tells you that it's dangerous to be perceived as anything other than tough, stoic, and ready to fight at a moment's notice. No wonder we often perceive adolescent boys as aloof, isolated, and inarticulate. impenetrable mysteries. Michael Meade, an author and mythologist, makes it his life's work to get to the heart of these mysteries.
At the end of childhood, or towards the end of childhood, something awakens inside people that has profound levels to it. And then I think youth is the time in which it has to be touched. And from that touching of some kind of core aspects of a person, hints of what that life is to be about occur. And young people are looking for direction, which way to go. And it's not success or failure. Success or failure in what? Each young person needs to find something that's indelibly part of themselves, I think.
Meade's way of providing direction is to work with the youth to create special occasions, ceremonies in which they find the words to express themselves. We asked boys from 2 Chicago high schools to participate in a 3-day workshop.
The core of what I do has to do with telling stories, traditional stories.
So once upon a time, there was a village, and in the village, there was a mother. She had given birth to a child, and that child was a boy. Well, the truth is, it was half boy. Maybe because that boy was only half. When he was born, he began to cry. As he grew larger, his voice grew louder. His lamenting grew greater. His screaming grew more penetrating. And maybe because of that, people kept away from him and didn't look at him. Certainly never looked him directly in the eye, of which, of course, he only had one.
The boys aren't sure what to make of Meade and his story, and they get anxious when he tells them they are expected to perform their interpretation for parents and teachers in 3 days. Even scarier is the fact that Meade is asking them to talk about their inner lives.
It's actually different from what I thought we were going to do, because I thought we were going to go into our lives in school and with our friends and stuff, about like basically drug, sex, rock and roll.
But it's more of the issues that we have to deal with within ourselves.
When you talk to a boy, you have to understand that he thinks the whole talking thing may not be a masculine undertaking. So you have to ask a question a different way. You have to honor his pride and his masculinity. I've found the way to do it is to use a boy as a consultant on himself. Give them a problem to solve. Ask them a question that you don't have an answer to in mind. And don't be disappointed in short answers.
How many in here know someone who didn't make it through the struggle of trying to find themselves as a young person? In here? No? Yeah. And so that's how I begin working with them, trying to engage that part of them which is imaginative, ancient, and capable of inspiration.
From him. And so he decided to leave. There was no one there to say goodbye. There was no one there to wish him well. There was no one there to sing songs for him as he went out into the world.
It's 9,000 years old, that story. Well, all you have to do is start telling that story to a bunch of unhappy boys. And they all go, yeah, that's me, the half boy.
You know, nobody gave him love or nothing like that. I guess because he was, different and something like that. It's kind of harsh, just not sending them off on his way,
It just seems to me it's just one big village of a bunch of fair weather fans, because they're not supporting the youth.
A lot of adults don't look at you, when you say you're thinking about the big questions and that kind of stuff, and don't, see you as a serious person. I feel that sometimes.
In other words, you feel half, but not the other half. They see half, but not the other half of you. That's how it connects to the story. That's how the half boy works.
At the heart of the workshop is poetry. Poems that the boys themselves write about the half-boy.
want to write line by line. I want like a story. Because like, I want to rhyme. I don't want it to.
I say just write, man.
Yeah.
Whatever comes to mind, just let it flow.
From half boy
to whole man.
From half boy to whole man. You can say what you want. It's your poem.
So one way to get at the feelings is to have the safe zone and to engage in an activity that the boy likes. And once we get to those feelings, boys are connected with us in a deeper way than we have been before.
It's a form of intimate conversation. They're telling you what their internal images are. And it's creative. They like it.
And as he dragged themselves towards the river, looked down the bank of the river, and he could see someone coming towards him. And after a time, he could see that it was another half person.
And then the two halves come together, and one is a right half and one is a left half. And then you think, okay, now there's the two halves, everything's going to be fine. No, the two of them begin to fight. They have a huge battle.
At the river, you and your half shouldn't fight. Instead, be bold and try to become a whole, for then you will finally see the world unfold.
All right. Way to go, Ashley. All right.
Eventually, we have something written by each one of them or spoken by each one of them that it is their story. They'll reveal things that are stunning.
One preconceived by a higher being, a life form called man, blind but still seeing. What makes me whole? Still in a half-man notion. Instead of ceremonial drinks, we sip IBM and internet potions.
The light's too bright. Now I'm blinded.
Okay, the light's too, that's T-O-O.
Yeah.
The light's too bright, and now I'm blinded. So that semicolon will take the place of and. At least that's what you told me, that you being an elder, older person.
People in general, they always trying to tell you who you are, but they can't tell you that.
Yeah, that's good. I don't think you should shorten that at all.
I stepped out the dark into the light. The light's too bright. Now I'm blinded. It's like I'm back in the dark. Why did I go into the light? Now I'm back where I started. I thought the light was the place to be. At least that's what you told me. Maybe the light wasn't for me. And I know the dark isn't for me. They can't find me. Only I can find me. I'm saying, well, I'm going through the teenage years and it's kind of hard. And being a black male, that's hard too, so that's how I was feeling at that time.
Matthew and 9 other boys in the workshop are students at Hales Franciscan, an all-African-American boys' school in one of Chicago's poorest neighborhoods.
Some of the guys from Hales said that this river we were talking about was almost like, it was just like the streets they have to walk through just to get to school. And I realized that I had blinders on.
This is the struggle of my everyday life. It's not like the old days where rivals run at you with a knife. Nowadays, you can't even walk on the wrong block. Throw up the wrong sign, and you might get shot. Even going to school is getting harder every day. Walk past an alley and see where a dead body used to lay. I could remember what my mother used to say, son, be careful when you go out and play. I see all this, keep my poise and chill. This is my life.
The river. They say the river got power. The power to turn boys to men. The power to see new things. The wise men tell me I will have to go in the river one day. Such fools.
There's a natural rhythm in there, and what you want to do is just give it its room. For instance, instead of poisonous, poison fish. Sharp rocks and poison fish. Da 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 da.
I see.
You know? But you're up to a big turning point now. Is he going in despite the poison or not?
No, he's not going in.
He's not going in.
He's trying to put it off as much as he can.
Yeah.
And he's just giving all these excuses. You know, the river got sharp rocks, the river got poisonous fish. I've seen people go in the river and not come out.
There is no clear sense of when you move over from boyhood to manhood. Males are constantly being given a test about when they'll become men, and they're constantly failing it and taking it over again. One of the indigenous Indian tribes in America calls that test the big impossible.
They say this is the hardest generation because of guns, drugs, and hate. Yet this generation is the same. The story is the same. Most people see us as the poison of their lives. Yet they were the same when they faced the Red River of their lives. What happens when we need them? What happens when we need them?
I think it's intended to remind the adults, you did this too. You did this too. And if you can stand...
All the research shows that if an adolescent boy is connected to one person in his school, if an adolescent boy feels loved by his mother and father, he will be protected from harm and from harming others. But in our society, we push them to disconnect. And when they say, leave me alone, we do the worst possible thing we can do with adolescent boys. We actually do leave them alone. What they're really telling us is, give us some more space, but hover closely and be around.
Here's the situation. We're going to try and go through now as if we're doing the whole thing. So please don't make jokes and don't talk for a little while so we can clarify what the parts are and what the cues are.
I know, but can we just like, say we did it and then just...
No, we cannot say we did it.
We have to rehearse.
Listen, Alex, what will happen is people come in and sit down, you think you're embarrassed about this now. Suddenly these people that you don't know are going to be looking at you.
We got to get something together because we don't really have anything planned and this isn't really like organized.
Take a deep breath and hang with this for a while. If you guys keep trying to escape, you're going to feel bad tonight.
Let's just do it then.
All right. Let's just do what? You ready?
The boys make it through rehearsal, but are increasingly distracted. It's not clear that they're ready to go on stage.
Easy in a 600 Benzie, cause you know why I be the Frenchie. All the time putting it down for the 2G. B-R-O-N calling again. And how you looking at me, sitting in the back drinking some in.
I'm kind of recovering from the day. Does this drive the adults crazy? Because it seems like total chaos, you know. Some kids are playing make-believe baseball, someone's playing the piano, others are practicing on the drum, others are pushing each other around. That's how they get ready. Every group I've ever been with of young people, that's what they do. It's necessary. It's like the world began in chaos. So everything meaningful has to have chaos at the beginning. That's how I understand this. The trouble is, in the midst of chaos, you have to begin to pull out some threads of intelligence and coherence.
To come to the program tonight. It started at 7 and it's at 5835 South Kembar at the Judd Hall building. So I'll see you here. Bye.
Put out my money. Put out my money. Put out my money. Put out my money. Put out some money. Put out some money. Put out some money. Put out some money.
They say the river got power. The power to turn boys to men, the power to see new things. I've seen what lurks in the river. The river got sharp rocks and poison fish. I've seen friends go in and never come out. No, not me. They ain't getting me with that. What the hell I need to become a man for anyway? I can do anything that any man could do. But I gotta say, if I told people I touched the water, they'd think I'm so cool. Hey, wait a minute. If I touch the water a little bit, I'll get that power, right? I mean, a little splashy splash could do the job. That's it. I'll do just that. I'm sure being a man can't be more complicated than that.
I have crossed the river, but it has been the easy way. I use a bridge, a boat, and hop over the rocks. I never get wet. I only see the passing water for a second. Then it is gone, and I quickly forget. Meanwhile, I don't worry about where I walk, where I play or shop. No one gives me a second glance when I pass. I walk within privilege, within an unknowing. When then will I understand what it is I do not know?
Destined for greatness, once thought upon all. From deceit of royal kings to half boys searching for the spirit's call. What is the call? Is it the rhythm within us? Is it tough love or neglection? To whom am I to trust? Am I being honest with myself? Am I ready for this? Wait, what's that? A reflection of me. Could it be my other half to which God sent thee?
I walked in the door and you guys were sitting there, and I know you're not supposed to use the word beautiful with guys, but you were just a beautiful bunch of 19 different souls. And your poetry was beautiful, and it really has been a privilege to sit here tonight and to hear your voice and to hear your hearts. So I thank you.
I was surprised how it actually just came out. I wasn't really thinking about nothing to write. It just came to me as I started writing.
We just got around and just let it flow, kind of wrote what we thought, and it came out pretty well, I think.
I try to sit down and write something in school. I can't get nothing out. So I'm sitting here and I write something down. Surprise me after I read it out loud. You get to hear what you say. I don't get to do that much.
With my mother and father, I didn't really, open up to them with me crossing the river. But this really opened my eyes to see that they can help me a lot with this.
You guys were able to give us a form of expression that we would not have gotten from you at home. I would have went in the basement and sat with my son for a few minutes. He would have got up and left and went upstairs and talked to his mother. I'd have to chase him around the house just to find out how he's doing. I hear now him expressing himself in a way that I never heard before. And I thank you for reminding me that I have a power in listening. Not judging, not offering advice, but just to hear what's being said.
Suddenly, from the river, there stepped the boy, the half boy, now made whole, with the left half and the right half, with the left foot and the right half, one placed before the other, the walking in wholeness so new that it was confusing, causing him to stumble, disoriented, not knowing where he was or where to turn. Arriving at the edge of the village, where the elder sat, and the elder sitting there said, I can tell you where you are. You have come back to the same place where you started. Now that you've returned, the whole village can dance. Oh, my lady.
We embraced each other. We came together as men, not little boys. We came together as men because we know we going through the same thing together.
That's right. We did this for ourselves. It was all coming from the heart. We weren't doing this looking for an A or a B. We wasn't doing this for
it's for ourselves, quantity, for our hearts,
rather quality, and that's what made the whole difference. That's what made this whole thing work. And I'm out.
We out. Yeah, we out.
Hey, get this right here. Get this right here. I think the point of change is when there's a realization inside a young person that I have some kind of intrinsic, inherent value, that is the ground and also the place of connection to them.
the greatest thing that feminism did for girls is say there are many different ways to be a woman. We have to show boys that there are many, many, many different ways to be a man.
And the best thing that a parent can do is to let a boy show us the way he wants to become a man. That's what makes a boy healthy, happy, successful, and nonviolent.
Funding for this program was provided by the Lillian Lincoln Foundation.
To purchase a video cassette of this program, call 1-800-343-5540. For additional information and resources, visit our website at www.boyswillbemen.com.